so far away. Can I try to move the podium a little closer?
Bring it on.
Bring it on. It all depends on the mic.
Here, you want to hand it?
Yeah.
Well, I see it might come with that.
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah, that's what you got.
all right, thanks. What's up?
I like three more like that, that's good.
All right. Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming out on what day is it?
30th.
The 30th day of the week. The 30th day of the month.
Oh, for me? God, trick question.
A day before May Day. Exciting for Seattle, which has a history of exciting May Days. And also the last day of April, the cruelest month, according to T.S. Eliot, and the last day of National Poetry Month. I don't know if any of you have been writing or appreciating poetry more so than usual because of this month, but regardless, I have, and it's been a really good time. This is the third instance of Seattle Poetics Lab Presents, also known as SPLAB Presents. And for those of you who are unaware, SPLAB, which you can check out at splab.org, is a non-profit that is run primarily by Paul Nelson, but also by a courageous assortment of individuals on the board and participants. It's been in the region for a very long time, decades, literally decades, and has seen the likes of writers of all backgrounds come through and talk, present, read, etc. in Seattle as well as around the region. Right now, SPLAB and a variety of other organizations are hosting the Cascadia Poetry Festival, the 2015 iteration up in Nanaimo. And if any of you have nothing to do for the next 4 days, you can still get tickets and participate in the Cascadia Poetry Festival, which goes on through Sunday. And Nanaimo is in British Columbia, so you will need a passport. Just to further promote that event, there's over 30 poets from around Cascadia involved, including Dan Raphael, Sean Arthur Joyce, Sebastian Wen, David Frazier, Missy Peters, Warren, Dean Fulton, Anastasia Tobert, Nadine Maestes, Susan Musgrave, I hope I pronounced that right, Sarah Brookman, Christine Lowther, Robert Lashley, Gary Gottfriedson, Kim Goldberg, Stephen Collis, Anne Graham Walker, Susan McCaslin, Marianne Moore, Kim Clark, Jeremy Pataksky, Paul Nelson, Lynn Coffin, Philip Gordon, Linda Crossfield, and Chris Hancock Donaldson. So it's a pretty amazing event. There are other people involved as well, promoting mostly the idea of this bioregion as a symbolic space for poetry, for writing, for a poetic aesthetic. Beyond that, it's diverse as anything else. There's people from all walks of life, from all backgrounds, represented and promoting their ideas and their spirits. This is the third instance of the Seattle Poetics Lab Presents. It's a series that happens once in a while. I'm Greg, and Nadine is the other organizer. She's not here tonight because she's up in Nanaimo representing. We bring in people from all over the country and potentially the world and potentially the universe, as well as our beloved local writers that we enjoy and that we think match those visitors in terms of their styles and their aesthetics. Tonight we have J.W. Marshall, Jean Rao, and D. Wolfe, all from great, wonderful spots. I've read all of them vigorously and profusely, and I look forward to hearing them tonight. I don't think there's anything else I have to say. If you want to check out more of SPLAB's work, you can go to splab.org. Please order voraciously from the bar. And thanks to Don from our bartending night. Can we give a warm welcome? He's around. And if you have any questions about anything related related to the series, just talk to me after the reading's done. So, without further ado, Marshall co-owns and operates Open Books, a poetry-only bookstore in Seattle, with his wife, Christine. He has work forthcoming in Apollo, Poetry Northwest, The Volta, which I am very much looking forward to, and the anthology Make It True Poetry from Cascadia, which is being published by Leaf Press. His first collection, Meeting a Cloud, won the Field Poetry Prize and was published by Oberlin College Press. Everybody welcome J.W.
Thank you, Greg. Thank you, people, for being here. Thank you, Ms. Morrell and Mr. Wolf, for following whatever it is I do. And what I'm going to do is read poems. Pretty much some of them, like this first one and others, take place on Metrobuses or involve Metrobuses. On a 16. How many know how few words she has about the 48. Has to catch the 48. The 48 have to catch the 48. There's no distinction between things like there is between the bus you're on and the one you want. She's saying a transit rosary like a beetle on its back on the sidewalk kicking air, and all can hear and know that if she says enough about the bus, the 48, no mistake will happen to her. Has to catch the 48. The 48 have to catch the 48. In every seat we know it's true. And always has been. Hasn't there always been one coming? It's your business. The 48, it's your business to know. It's yours. The 48, there's always one. There's always one to catch. You will. This stems from the obituary page. Photo of a fisherman with fish. They are no longer fish, not fish, that catch that he displays. They're wings of his. He holds them out. Like a cormorant will hold its wings in sun and air to dry them, but unlike the cormorant's wings, these are dead to life. And so they're like the criminals on Calvary, and he, between them, is a different Christ, pleased and with no questions for his Father, none at all. Red weather. No one or someone's spirit guide this afternoon. Drunk below the waves, unthinking talk, shouting laughter, he turned around instead of stood, and barely and daringly and blankly took to the stairs in front of the house, and sat and rose and sat, having knocked the neighbor's precarious plank fence over onto the junk in their yard, punished for leaning on something for balance. There is no container like a drunk, sloshing thought, and parts of thought around. A clown under the spell of entertainment. Who he is everything, crashing away and crashing back. And I'm in a chair one wall and not 10 feet from him. Reading Gertrude Stein, the dishwasher knuckles along. I am temporarily housing voices like the underside of the Ballard Bridge, back when starlings owned the place. When you staple them, they get unruly. In a bowl. When I got on the bus 1,000 years ago, a little man was expanding in his seat until there wasn't room for any other. He looked through a window at clouds. Out there they looked like flotsam, like styrofoam, nothing unusual to them. They were comforting. They comforted the little man, and he grew beyond the row, which meant nothing, no meaning, no. He spread down the aisle, his forceful small self, until under our feet and up. We, the rest of us, we rose. We began to float upon his considerableness. Not in excess, but in action. The driver didn't care or notice. It was another ride downtown in the evening. What a sight, I imagine. Those people in the cars alongside, they never get to feel creation taking place. The oligarch's yacht. For those of you who were reading the paper, I guess last year we had an oligarch's yacht in Lake Union for a while. A foreign oligarch's yacht, unlike our own oligarch's yachts. The oligarch's yacht. I undid my eyebrows consistent with the serenity that makes the boating scene. I know it's mean to condemn a man who spends that much money to ride around like a speck on the deck of such a possession. I rebuilt my eyebrows using the model of arches in a different way. No support from one for the other. This being here this day, the sky was all destroyer colored, and his yacht was a pointy flag, a white flag, a pointy white flag of deceit. And me in the park on the hill overlooking the locks, I was a little McDonald's-faced biped among the signs that say, this is this plant and this is that plant. Yes, me aghast at a craft, and he somewhere was somewhere on board, I hope enjoying being biliously viewed in this that is his, that he owns. Let your father take you golfing. It will be one of the things that later had happened. Standing, you and he, in almost the same place 18 times. 18 times reaching into a hole for what you managed to drop. Some weather and time together. Neither of you are any good, and you pull for each other as a mostly silent practice. A blunt pencil keeping score. It was difficult and green. We laughed at times. It was meaningless. We were gone a few hours. Nothing particular, no sport cards remain. Wrong time of year, but this is the Christmas fog. The Christmas fog is something else. A scarf the city does not want. A scarf that even though it goes with everything, that nothing goes with it. The airport is a crawling mausoleum. The living and their luggage lounging in discomfort, which is televised, because it is. Because it is there to be broadcast. The sun slips along, slips overhead like an anchored ship, swinging slowly round on its tether. We see in it the brightness of the fog, how the brightness moves along. We've died is how it feels, and are dead. Only the child is alive, and finds the new things in the house we left for him to find. This is off of a line by Frank O'Hara, which is the title, Naked as a Tablecloth. Don't I hear it, brother, in the monarch's tribute to the monarchy? Loathsome, frightened, and twisted up all like a fern, for the winter there is truly awful. There's fundamental math, and then there's this creative writing. Let's stitch sweet nothings together and lunch at luau if it hasn't been shuttered. So what a tiger-filled sky strolls above this gimpy city. Downtown they're running silent movies that feature live music. Stand still, little prey. I like admiring you before we go our way. Someplace, yes. We were someplace, yes, and he, a baby strapped to his mother's back, she sang to him his name in a little song. Mr. Jack, is that a dog? She sang his name, he stared at me. We were in line to buy a thing or several things. Mr. Jack, are you a happy boy? He stared at me with all the Buddha one could bring, if one could bring some Buddha. Mr. Jack, is this your day? And we were an open clover in a field that looked right then like a grocery store. Mr. Jack, are you a bee? He was a bee, and he had found the flowering world all around, and so was taking it, he took it in. Mr. Jack's a special man. A bee today in clover, Mr. Jack. All this is yours, it is today, it's yours. Fred. A red stitch thrown over and over. That was Frederick the Dachshund when in snow. Frederick the Dachshund, ecstatic in snow. Three autos. A Dr. Williams. I tore up your parking ticket. Thought you'd want to know. A Yates. With its wide left turns and its wide right turns, the car carrier slouches toward a dealership to unload. An urban Sisyphus pentameter. I'll buy another car for you to steal. Belief. It is a quiet world, and in it is a derelict sailboat roped to a buoy, a wobbly grin, a smirk out there. Beyond it to the west, it's west of here, the mountains are a line of scones on a platter in a bright, fast room. From that slack vessel, if you are me, if you are standing on this beach in this city park, the maestro of a wooden thought or two rows a smaller boat methodically, rows a smaller boat towards you. I say that he's who I say he is because the animals I've come to know who live on unmoored boats are uniformly tender, are ready to explode. He makes the shore. He makes a scarring sound when dragging his dinghy across gravel to shove it in among the plants above high water mark. His dragging his boat drowns out the other sounds there are that are around you. Then he walks towards town. He walks to get a box of all the little things you need if you are him. Aboard a listing craft all night and day, alone aboard, except for those beliefs you hold, so dear you hold and keep. Mistake. Poetry has rejected my poetry. A strange state of affairs. This exile of the thing from the tribe. So I went out and broke the weather into units and counted them off as a reminder of the hum in human. E-line north across the Aurora Bridge. Dear God, my dear, she was asleep above the scratch-off ticket. Precarious to ride a bus when one has been that beaten down. How else to get around? Asleep, a quarter between her forefinger and her thumb. Eager for a future, not so eager so as to stay awake. Her fortune's number could not make its presence known. I watched the magic gap between the coin and her reward below some stamped-on wax. It might have been how far an ember goes to start a rug on fire. She might have been a kind of light bulb filament. A spark was all was needed. She had on extra black around her eyes. Her hair was extra black. She was, for now, a mourner in perpetuity. And here we were, the future in one hand, and in the other was its trigger. How did she sleep? Her hand like a marionette's, a wobble on its string. Not drop the coin, not close the barely open door, the uncertain door of her good luck. I only know this is how the story never ends. And the last poem, Retaining Wall. I laid a short retaining wall, rock and brick, nothing beautiful, about the length of a wren's song, and little more than ankle high. Heavy rain had brought the mahonia down, and I tipped it back and tied it up, wanting to see it again in the spring.